Hey everyone. This year, my wife and I paid off $121,000 of debt, which still feels pretty crazy to say. But before I tell you how we actually did it, I need to make something very clear. This is not a flex. This is not an overnight success story that you probably normally see on social media. There was no elevator to where we are right now. We had to take the stairs, okay? This took, a tremendous amount of sacrifice, humility, and a complete mindset shift altogether. And the only reason why I'm making this video is because they've asked me, how did we do it? Some of you are curious, some may be a little bit skeptical, and some of you may be in a similar situation of just being in debt in general, and you're just desperately looking for a way out. And so today I want to address all of that. I want to tell you the truth about what it actually took. Let's get into it. So let's talk about how we actually got here to begin with. So I said we paid off $121,000 of debt, but we actually started this year, 2025, of $180,000 in debt. So we still have work to do. The $180,000, it didn't come from just like one massive mistake. It actually just came from just like a bunch of small decisions that essentially just caught up to us. These decisions include credit cards, student loans, furniture for our own apartments, car loans, medical bills, because life happens, a personal loan for our wedding that we had in 2024, a margin loan from my investment account, like all the normal stuff that you hear that most people have. And we pretty much convinced ourselves that we can afford the payments until life actually tested that theory. Now I know some of you are probably watching this video and thinking, why were you even in that much debt to begin with? That's fair. Honestly, it was just because I believed the lie of good debt. There's no such thing. I believe the lie that credit is the same as cash. As long as you pay it off by the end of the month and don't get hit with the interest. It's because I believe, hey, as long as I can make the payments on time, we're good. It's because we believe that, hey, a high income equals financial security. Let me tell you right now, it doesn't. And debt is just sneaky like that. It feels manageable until it's not. And this year really forced us to face the reality that we weren't just making financial mistakes. We were actually avoiding proper financial stewardship. So we were basically just coasting. We were comfortable. I'll just be honest. We were comfortable. And being comfortable can be expensive because it can cost you your freedom if you allow it. But before anything changed for us financially, something had to change internally. I want to talk about the mindset shift that happened for the both of us. So let me show you guys something real quick. So this is my bookshelf. I like to do a lot of reading on books about business, personal finance, investing, mindset. That's just my jam. But the one book that tops all of them is this one. This one right here. This one, the Bible. I remember earlier this year reading Proverbs 22:7, and it says that the rich rule over the poor and the borrower is slave to the lender. Now, as a Christian, I've read these verses a ton of times, but I would say the last time that I read it, so earlier this year, it felt like God kind of tapped me on the shoulder and he was like, son, I am talking to you. Okay, so it hit me. I wasn't as financially responsible as I thought that I was. I wasn't really leading my household well. I wasn't stewarding what God gave me. And even if you don't share the same faith as me, you know the feeling that debt steals your peace. You're gonna lose sleep. It takes away your ability to choose the things that you actually want to do or get the things you actually want to get. And so after reading that verse, I realized that I wasn't as comfortable as I thought I was. I was really just surviving. And listen, we make way too much money to just be surviving. I'm going to be very transparent. There were times right before we got paid that there was maybe $35 left in our checking account. So after seeing that a couple of times, I'm like, okay, hey, something has got to change today. And let me address something because I know people are going to ask, isn't this only possible because you make a high income? My wife and I, we do have a strong combined income. That's true. We're both in corporate America. We're dinks, dual income, no kids, household, no pets, and we make $230,000 a year. I'm not hiding that. But listen, because here's the truth. Our income didn't save us. Our discipline did. So we made good money or solid money on our own before we got married, but we were still in debt. So that doesn't really make much of a difference. There are people who make half of what we make and manage their money much better than we ever did. So our income helped us reach this mark faster, but it's worth stating that even if you don't make the same amount of money, you can still get out of debt. You can still get out of debt if you are single, if you are married but you don't make the same income, if you're married and you have kids, or even if you're single and you have kids, or even if you've been divorced before. It literally does not matter the circumstances. This can still be a reality for you, and you can reach a place of like financial peace. We're not there yet, but we're close. But just know that your income will only accelerate your habits, good or bad. So, essentially you cannot out earn bad spending habits. But like with the right mindset, the right savings practice, you can kill your debt and start building true wealth pretty quickly. And that's what we're in the process of doing right now. So let me share with you exactly how we've knocked out that $121,000 of debt. So we decided to stop winging it, because we tried some things in the past, it just didn't work, and actually follow a proven plan. And so that plan for us was the Dave Ramsey's baby steps. So what are the baby steps? What is that? Baby step number one is save $1,000 for an emergency fund, not $5,000, not whatever's left over, not 3 to 6 months, just $1,000. And this is just for the inconveniences of life that just so happen to know that you're trying to lock in financially, like car issues, or maybe an issue if you have pets or something along that line. That's a prime example. So that's baby step one. Baby step two, list every expense and all of your debts from smallest to largest. We found that there were some purchases that we knew we just didn't need to make them anymore. We just didn't need it. And that there are some purchases that we forgot all about, just altogether. So seeing it was both, painful and freeing, because you can't change what you refuse to look at. And so we decided to create a zero-based budget. Every single dollar had a job. Nothing was floating around anymore. And so after getting a good look at our monthly financial picture, this allowed us to see what was coming in and also what was going out. And if you end up doing this exercise, typically you'll see that you have more margin than what you may have originally thought. You'll actually see, maybe a couple $100 will free up in your monthly budget. And so next we end up paying minimums on everything except for the smallest debt. So throw everything at the smallest debt. So once that first debt was killed, then you take that money and roll it over into the next smallest debt. And that's what's called the debt snowball. And let me tell you, it works because of the momentum. And paying off that first little balance, even if it was small, I think for us it may have been $400 to $600, something like that. That lit a fire under us. So we went from being overwhelmed to being a little encouraged. And for once we had a moment of financial clarity, and that clarity is, I would say, it's the beginning to freedom for us. So at this point I had to show that, I'm pretty serious about getting out of debt, this whole thing. And so since we're sitting on a mountain of debt anyways, I was looking to, sell the car that I had, which I actually adored, to get a daily beater. And so I had a 2022 Kia K5 GT, black on black. It was speedy, it was sporty. I love that car. But I just got tired of paying for it every month. That got a little old. The payment was maybe $565 a month. So I worked with a family friend who actually worked at CarMax, and I asked him, hey, can you find a cash car for me? Ideally a Toyota or a Lexus. That's just kind of the family that I come from. And I told him about this 6 months ago, and there was no update, radio silence. I'm thinking he forgot all about me. Fast forward to January of this year, he gives me a call and he's like, hey, I think I may have a car for you. It's in great condition. I will send you the pictures right now. And so he sends the pictures. I'm looking at them, and yeah. Man, I was not trying to buy the car the first time I saw it, because it was an older car. It put me in mind of the car that I had back in college, which nothing wrong with the car, by the way. It was just, my brain was just so cooked that I was thinking like, oh, I can't pull up to work with this kind of car, that whole thing. But I told myself, look, beggars can't be choosers. So I was like, let me at least just consider it. Let me go look at the car. So I did. And it was a 2001 Lexus LS 430, only 72,000 miles. It stayed garage, brand new tires. It was in pristine condition. So we take it for a spin, and that car ride was smooth. And so I asked him, like, hey, like, how much are you trying to sell this for? He told me, look, I'm not trying to make any money on this deal. You're basically family. I'm just trying to look out for you. I'll sell it to you for $5,000. Mind you, this car in this exact same condition is being sold for like maybe $15,000 to $20,000. A blessing, a blessing. And so I end up using like a margin loan on my investments to get the cash. A week goes by and the car is now mine. So bye-bye K5, bye-bye $23,000 of debt. So a month goes by, I'm enjoying the car, and I'm heading somewhere to go see my mom get acknowledged for an award. And about maybe 3 minutes away from the place, I get into an accident. Some other car jumps out in the middle of the street. I run into them. We're both fine, but the insurance company, they deem my vehicle as totaled. And so I'm not a car head by any means. So I'm looking at my car and I'm thinking, hey, it's at least fixable. So when I tell you I was sick to hear that news, like I just sold my car for this. So in my head, I'm thinking they're probably gonna write me a check for like $4,000. It's a 2001 vehicle. They're just gonna write me something, right? Whatever. But actually, instead, they give me two options. Option one, I give them the car. They write me a check for $13,700. Option two, I get to keep my car, and then they write me a check for $12,500. They're like, so sir, what are you thinking about doing? Man, give me my car. Give me my car back. What are you talking about? I end up finding someone that can actually fix my car for about $6,200. So I get my car back. I pocket about $6,000 off from this accident. The best luck I probably ever had in my life. And so after everything was settled, I used most of it towards debt. And I probably saved back maybe a couple $100, like just for, a concert, just because I think it's important to still try to enjoy life to some extent while you're in this journey. So this is the part people want to skip over, but this is why most people stay in debt. And it's because they don't want to make sacrifices. As I mentioned, we had to make a lot of sacrifices. So we sold things, we had to cut memberships and subscriptions. We had to say no to eating out. We had to say no to trips that we've already agreed to months ago with our friends. We had to really humble ourselves. And so there were days where I thought, are we kind of doing too much? But when you're in a hole, extreme isn't really extreme. I think it's a requirement to get out of the hole. So that brings me to one of the hardest decisions that I think I had to make in this entire journey. And that was just from selling all of my investments. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been pretty big into investing. From about 2020 to 2023, I built up my investment account to about $52,000. A majority of that was gains. And so I was like proud of it. I told myself that I would never sell it, like ever. But when I kept looking at this debt, I had to really, really consider it. I prayed on it for months, trying to get confirmation on the right decision. But when I thought about how much that we'll be able to invest once we got rid of all of the debt, we will be back to that $52,000 number, or well past that, really, in no time. So like the math made sense. I just had to get over my pride, my ego, my emotions, because I would feel silly telling my wife that this investment account is more important than us getting out of debt, especially when I know we'll be much better off afterwards. Like, this woman is relying on me to bring this family to financial prosperity. So I had to make the best decision for the both of us. And so using that $52,000 really leaped us forward. We were able to probably knock out 5 to 6 different balances, and like seeing all those balances go to completely to zero, the reaction was just like, whoa. Now we're cooking. Now we're actually starting to see some true progress. Like there's light at the end of this tunnel. All right. I've been recording all day. So it got a little dark. I had to turn some lights on in here. If you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you again for your support. If you're looking for another way to support me and the channel, I did create a free newsletter that you can sign up for. It's called The Good Steward. It's a place where I send out a weekly devotional, like a verse of the week, and we study on that for the rest of the week. And then I'll also send an update in terms of where I'm at in my personal finances, things I'm learning along the way, and things that may just be happening in the world. I think that'll be beneficial for you to know as well. So if that's of any interest to you, or if you're just trying to look for another way to support me and the channel, then I'd love for you to sign up for The Good Steward. If you're watching this on social media, just find the link in my bio, or if you're watching this on YouTube, just find the link to sign up for free in the description below. Thanks. So in the midst of all this stuff that's happening, you got the car accident, which turned out to be a blessing. Me selling my investments, an emotional roller coaster of a decision, but it turned out to be a blessing. We're making all this momentum. My job ends up dropping a bomb on me. They end up telling me, hey, Oliver, the company is going to move to Austin. So you have two options here. You can either move to Austin with the company, or you can find yourself a new job. Pretty crazy. Welcome to corporate America. And for context, my wife and I were both born and raised in the Dallas area. So we had, community there, friends, family, roots. Everything was there for us. And so, as you can probably imagine, that announcement pretty much shook me up quite a bit. I was anticipating on staying in Dallas for the rest of my life. So I was fighting hard to stay, because I'm not going to Austin. What didn't help with that announcement is that my wife's job wouldn't even allow her to be fully remote and still stay at the company that she was at. So it just kind of threw in another a dynamic that's just going to make it tougher, right? So we ended up praying about it, talked about it, shed a few tears over it in terms of hey, what are we going to do next? 2 weeks go by, I test out the job market, and I realized that it's going to make more sense for me to stay where I'm at. The job market for my roles were just looking pretty rough. And so we ultimately just said yes to move to Austin. Another 2 weeks go by, and my wife lands a fully remote role within the field that she actually wants to pursue. A blessing. And so things just kind of worked out for both of us in terms of the job front. The logistics of moving to Austin was fine because the company ended up taking care of everything anyways, thank God. And so after my wife received the news of her receiving a new job, I was like, hey, let me just go ahead and start the process of trying to find some new places for us to stay. At this point, we haven't moved to Austin just yet. Doing some research, come to find out that the cost of living in Austin is cheaper than the cost of living in Dallas, so at least in terms of renting, which surprised me. I thought it was going to be the other way around. But it worked out for us, so it just made sense to just move in that direction. After we decided to move down to Austin, we get down there, have a conversation with my manager, and he says that I want to give you a raise and I want to give you a promotion. And that promotion was huge for us. It was a $45,000 raise in both salary and commission. That allowed us to just live off of my income alone and put all of my wife's income towards the debt. So now we're at a rate of maybe $5,000 or more. That's just going towards the debt here. And now that we're able to just put so much money towards the debt now, we're not making any lifestyle upgrades, no crazy celebrations, no slipping back into the old habits. We're still just staying consistent, steady, chopping away, and just staying disciplined until we reach the end of this tunnel here. So now I want to take a minute to address a couple different dynamics. If you're married, if you're single, if you believe in Christ, if you don't, I want to address all of that. So a lot of people who are married, they'll probably ask, how did you and your wife get on the same page? We talk to each other. Just through conversations, just being transparent and having hard, honest conversations. You guys are on the same team at the end of the day. It's important to remember that. Because if you don't, you're going to realize that the money is going to expose your habits, your fears, your egos. We just had to learn to trust each other in a new way. And so we had to agree on the why before we fought on the how. That's what's worked for us. So did we argue? For sure. Of course. Yeah, we did a couple of times. But the process actually unified us instead of dividing us. And we became a team with a shared mission instead of two individuals trying to attack this problem differently. It's just not going to work out that way. So what if you're single? If you're single, I want you to hear this, because these principles don't change just because you don't have a second income or just because you don't have a partner doing this with you. The principles are going to be the same. Your pace is just going to look different. That's it. The principles are still to maximize your income. That may either be from adding another job or multiple jobs if necessary, or trying to build the skills necessary so you can grow within your career and try to get up to a higher position. Principle number one. Number two, spend less than what you make. Pretty simple enough. If you're just surviving, you just need to focus on your four walls: rent, food, water, utilities, maybe even transportation. And for any luxuries, you shouldn't be spending any, but if you're going to, if you can't buy it in cash, you can't afford it. Three, save $1,000 immediately, fast, like today. And four, do the debt snowball. So if I were single today, I would have probably tightened up my lifestyle much earlier. The biggest trap for single people is justifying the small purchases just because it's just me. That can be very dangerous, because that mindset is likely to delay your future and your financial progress. So you don't need a spouse to start. You just need a good enough reason. Touching on the dynamic, if you're like me, if you're a Christian, I'll tell you the part that no one else told me. Your stewardship is your discipleship. How you handle God's money is a reflection of who you trust. In Joshua 24:15, it says, "As for me and my household, we will serve the Lord." Serving the Lord includes how you manage what He's given you. So for my wife and I, we're honoring God with our finances by removing this debt, by changing our habits, becoming more disciplined, and just from refusing to live in bondage. And also with our giving as well. It's just as important. And even if you don't share the same faith as me, the practical steps pretty much work for anyone. So having extreme clarity, a real budget, automatic payments, cutting expenses, selling things if necessary, eliminating excuses, and just staying the course. It's going to be hard, but I promise you this can still work for you too. So I've already mentioned there's a lot of sacrifices that we have to make. There were months where the progress felt slow. There were months where it felt like nothing was moving. Months where we both questioned, hey, is the sacrifice even worth it? But every time doubt essentially crept in, we just had to keep reminding ourselves that freedom is a reward. Peace is a reward. And now we see light at the end of the tunnel. And I gotta say, the future looks bright. So if you're watching this and you're wondering, where do I begin? I would suggest start small, but start now, today. Track every dollar for the next 30 days, list every single debt, do the debt snowball, and attack one balance at a time. Because listen, you don't have to get out of debt tomorrow. You just have to decide to stop going deeper into debt today. All right, that's it for me, guys. I spent all day recording this, so I genuinely hope it served you and it met you where you are. This journey didn't just change our finances, it actually changed our lives and it changed our marriage. And I don't take it lightly that I get to share with you today. If you want to keep the conversation going, feel free, shoot me a DM or shoot me an email. I read all of them, I respond to everyone, and I just love kind of having conversations along this line. So it's my jam. If you'd like to support what I'm building completely free, you can sign up for the Good Steward newsletter. You'll receive a short devotional every Monday morning and a personal finance insight or update every Wednesday morning as well. If you're watching this on social media, feel free to give your boy a follow. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe so you can keep walking this journey with us. I appreciate you guys' support. And until next time, peace.